Man, it's too early. I'm half asleep still. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am alive. For those of you guys that don't know, my name is Jesse. I'm now a first year oral and maxillofacial surgery resident, and I'm gonna take you guys on a week in med school. So I'm in med school now. I'm 3 months into med school. I have an exam on Friday, so I'm gonna just show you guys kind of what I'm gonna be doing this week, preparing for my test, trying to stay sane as I study for this test. So I just came out of a simulation. So during our preclinical blocks, we have these simulations where we go over different case scenarios with mannequins in the certain organ system that we're working on. So we're doing a renal right now. We had a patient that had a kidney stone, and then another patient that had like an emergency after surgery. So that was pretty informative. Gonna get some breakfast and then head to school and start studying. All right, so really nice day today. So we're finally in spring weather, full time I think. So it's been really nice to see. Unfortunately, I'm gonna be stuck in my med school basement this entire day. Probably study for about 5-6 hours. We got some flashcards, some PowerPoints to get through. We're going through renal, okay? So when I was studying for the CBSE, this was like the one topic or one organ system I really didn't like studying for. This and probably pulmonary are two that I didn't really get the concepts too well. So it hasn't been like the most fun month learning it. For me personally, I don't really enjoy learning about the kidney and things like that, but you gotta do it. So I'm going to. I'll talk about this later, but like the great thing about dental schools is helped me kind of acclimate really quickly in terms of learning the material, taking my study tips and study habits from dental school straight into med school. So it's been good, but only been in med school for like 2.5 months. So it's gone by really fast. I've learned a ton of information, and I'm gonna learn a ton more information. So I'm gonna study for a little bit and then probably head, do some errands, go to the gym. It's gonna be a pretty chill Monday. All right, so I'm reviewing a little bit of nephritic syndromes, and this channel, Medicosis, is a really, really great channel for renal. So if you ever are studying for renal stuff, this is great. I love it right now because there's just so much information and it's really hard to keep everything straight. So it's now 10 minutes to 9. I don't know how long I've been here. It's been like 6 hours or so. Gonna head to the gym, take a little break, workout, probably come back because I didn't get everything I need to get done completed. So I'll probably just work out for an hour, probably head home around midnight. I have a decent amount of energy and I'm not tired yet, so you want to kind of maximize, or at least I try to maximize when I feel in the mood to study, because if I'm not in the mood to study, I'll still study obviously, but I won't be as effective. So I think today's been like a really good day in terms of what I've retained and the stuff I've learned. So I just want to maximize it today, and then we'll continue tomorrow. So. All right, workout done. Gonna head back and study for a little bit. Gotta stay consistent. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, so I got a gross pathology session I gotta go to. Anytime we have a new organ system block, or I think it's usually the week of exams, we have like a little session where we just go through slides. We just go through different types of cases that we've been learning about, and we can see like gross path, and we can see slides and things like that. So go into that and then continue studying. All right guys, so taking a little break from studying right now. So I just want to talk a little bit about like my experience in med school so far. It's been interesting, and that's to say it's been different from anything I've experienced so far. So I'm in my 3rd month right now, like I said, and we take things by organ system blocks because they're trying to prepare us for step 1 to take step 1. And so it's like you take the kidney and you go through the kidney, you take the lung, you go through the lung, all that kind of stuff. But the interesting thing is med school's pass fail. So every single exam isn't like an existential crisis. It's like not a referendum on your career, which I like because it reduces the pressure. Obviously, you still want to do well, type A personalities, things like that, but it's nice to know, you know, in dental school, every single test I took like really mattered. And not to say it doesn't matter here, but it's like if you get an 89, that's a B, or if you get a 79, you know, you're in the C range, versus now if you get a 79 or 89, it's the same thing. So that's cool. So I did start off the first 6 months of residency on service. So I was a full-on resident in the hospital, and with 6-year oral surgery programs, it depends on the program you go to. So some programs you start, if you're doing a 6-year, you start off going straight into med school. You don't even go into the hospital. You do your med school before you start. Some places, you know, you start halfway through your first year. Some places you start in your second year. My program starts halfway through my first year. So I got a little taste of residency, and I'll definitely share videos of that. I just haven't had time to edit it, but I had my 6 months on service, and now I'm in med school. So once med school is on their summer break, then I'll go back to residency full-time, going back into the hospital. And then once we come back in August, I think, for our second year is when I come back to med school. I will say though, it's really interesting working inside a hospital when you're in the dental environment, because med students grow up in the hospital system. They learn the basics and things like that. We don't. They just throw us straight in. So it's really interesting to be dropped in not really knowing anything, and you're just kind of, it's a baptism by fire. So when I started, I didn't know much, and I still don't know a whole lot, but it's just so interesting because, you know, med school, I assume by the time I'm done and I'm a full-on, you know, I have my MD, I think it'll really bode well for you being, or for me, being a really well-rounded physician. And so I'm excited to see how that plays out, but I got to get through my renal exam first. All right, so I finished studying for the day. I didn't really do as much as I wanted to, but it's fine. It's 9 p.m. I need to go home and sleep. But one thing we have to do usually during the week of our exams is a case-based learning assignment. So they give us a patient. It's an Epic, and Epic is basically like this online platform that basically hospitals use for patient information and things like that. So we have like a test patient we have to write, and we have to work up the patient basically, and we have to figure out what's going on with the patient, write some differentials, what would our plan be, all that kind of stuff. Problem is, it's during the week of our final. So it's like we want to study for our final, but we have to do this assignment, which is kind of annoying, but I have to get it done. So hopefully I can get it done within the next 30 minutes or so, and then I can head home. So, all right, so new day, more studying. So this morning we had a group session where we had to go through some cases and things like that, and trying to consolidate all the stuff we're learning. I'm gonna try and be here for a few hours. We also have another thing every Wednesday where basically for our first year med school, they teach us how to be a doctor basically. So we go through scenarios, how to do an H&P, how to talk to patients, all that kind of stuff. So we do that every Wednesday. So I have to do that for an hour and a half. And then after that, we have our weekly case conference, or our grand round. So my program every Wednesday afternoon, we go through the cases for the week, we go through the cases for next week. First years get pimped on a lot of stuff, and then we have a speaker that talks about a certain topic, an oral and maxillofacial surgery. So we have that this evening, and then I'm gonna come back here and study again because I need to get through a lot more flashcards and some PowerPoint. So it's gonna be a pretty busy day. Not looking forward to it. All right, another group exercise done. Gonna go get some lunch and then head to our conference. So.
Case series. Hardware removal required. 18.
All right, so conference is over. We had a really great speaker. It's kind of like a giant in oral surgery, so it was really nice to learn. We learned about angle fractures and the approach for angle fractures and how to treat them and things like that. So it was really informative, especially as a first year. You know, just there's so much information, so any little bit of information you get, even if it's simple, can really help. So also got some Chick-fil-A, some chicken. Gonna have that. So heading home, and then I'm going to head back to school to study because I have barely done anything today. So I'll see you guys when I get to school. All right, it's 1:15 a.m. I'm exhausted. I've gone through It says 600 cards. I'm not really sure if that's right. I think I've gone through, I don't know how it works with these like algorithms for cards, but I've gone through a lot. So I've hit the wall kind of. You got to know when you're studying, there's like a certain wall you hit where you're not retaining information. I've hit that wall, so I need to go home and sleep. Tomorrow is the last day before the exam, so I got to get a lot done tomorrow, but I feel relatively confident about this test. We'll see how I feel tomorrow. All right, just got my hair cut. What do you guys think? I feel like a new person. Got some juice from somebody who was selling it at my barber shop, so gonna head to school, gonna study. It's my last day before my test, and then tomorrow after that test is spring break and I am free, so just need to get through today. Ooh. Ah. Oh man, that's got some kick to it. Oh boy. All right guys, so I'm done studying. I do not like the kidney, but it's actually really important for, I mean, just in general medical knowledge, but surgery, because we have patients we'll take care of, and you know, we'll do surgery on, and your patient can end up with acute hyponatremia or something like that. So you need to be able to see labs, you need to be able to diagnose things that happen, and so it's relevant for oral surgery. And that's one of the things I like about med school, is that yeah, it's like another couple years of more learning, but the stuff I am learning is stuff I'm going to be using the rest of my life, and it's going to be used in particular in the field I'm going into. And so I appreciate that aspect, but yeah, I've just want to get past this month. The month of March has not been, like med school in March has not been fun. I think we had heme last month, which was in February, and our professor for heme was great. I enjoyed that. Next month is pulmonary. We'll see how that goes, but I just think the kidney and like OMFS is just way different, but it's connected, so you got to learn about it. So we'll see how the test goes. I heard it's like a lot of questions, so I'm not sure how that's gonna go. I need to make sure I sleep. Important thing about test day is making sure you have sleep, adequate sleep, making sure you're hydrated, making sure you're just in a good headspace to take the exam. And so I'm just gonna go in there and do as best as I can. I've taken so many tests in my life at this point. It's just another one, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right guys, test day. I feel well rested, feel ready to take this exam. We'll see how it goes. Just finished my test. That was not easy. Trust me, that was not easy. But I passed. We got our scores like immediately after, so I passed, so that's great. So I can chill, because that was not an easy test. And I studied a fair bit, but you know, it is what it is. There's certain topics and areas where you study, but you don't really understand a whole lot, and you try your best. So I tried my best, I did well. I'm okay with that. So my week is done. We have a spring break now for med school. I'm gonna try and use the break to try and get some work done for residency. Maybe go to the OR. I'm actually gonna go to the OR right now because there's a cool case, so I wanna go see that. But glad you guys could come along with me during this week. It's been a chill week, you know, medical school, just studying, things like that. But there'll definitely be more vlogs, definitely be more about residency and things like that. So like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.